Have you ever wondered how a teenager with big dreams ends up holding a gun for a drug cartel? Or how social media, something we all use every day, can be turned into a trap? These days, apps like TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat aren't just for dancing videos or funny memes. Cartels are using them to find and recruit young people, even kids in high school, to do their dirty work. It's scary to think how quickly a normal kid can turn into a killer. One moment they're in class or hanging out with friends, next they're smuggling drugs or pulling the trigger, just to survive or make quick money. Why does this happen? How do they get pulled in so fast? And what happens to them when it's too late to turn back? In this video, we'll show you 10 real stories of teenagers, some as young as 13, who were lured into the violent world of cartels. These aren't just headlines. These are real kids with real families who ended up in a world most of us can't even imagine. So before we begin, ask yourself, would you know if someone you loved was being pulled into this world? Could this happen in your neighborhood? If you're curious to learn more about how these young lives were changed forever, then stick around. You won't believe what you're about to hear. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Narco Files, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss real stories from the dark world of organized crime. Edgar Jimenez Lugo, the baby-faced killer. Edgar Jimenez Lugo was born in San Diego and raised near the US-Mexico border. As a young teen, his life took a dark turn when he was kidnapped and forced to work for a violent drug cartel. At just 14 years old, Edgar had already committed brutal killings, acts that shocked people because of how young he was. He said he didn't want to do it, but the threats and pressure left him no choice. His story became famous when he was caught trying to escape into the US with his two sisters. After his arrest, he confessed to the crimes and was sentenced to 3 years in a juvenile center, the most the law allowed for someone his age. While in custody, Edgar said he was sorry for what he had done and wanted a fresh start. After his release, he moved to the US, hoping to leave the past behind. Rosalio Reta, murderer, at 13. Rosalio Reta grew up in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, a place where cartel violence was a part of daily life. As a young teenager, his best friend Gabriel Cardona introduced him to the Zetas, one of the most feared drug cartels. From there, Rosalio's life changed forever. He was trained to kill and quickly became a hitman, carrying out violent missions across Mexico and even the United States. At just 13, he was already deep in a world most adults fear. After years of working for the cartel, Rosalio reached a breaking point. He feared for his life and eventually chose to testify against the Zetas. His decision came at a cost. He was sentenced to 70 years in prison. Behind bars, he's spoken openly about his past, full of regret and pain. Though he wants to change, his actions and memories still haunt him. His story is a warning of how fast kids can be pulled into darkness. Raul Meza Torres, El Mini Six. Raul Meza Torres, also known as El Mini Six, was born into a world tied to crime. His father was a powerful figure in the Sinaloa cartel and worked closely with El Chapo. From a young age, Raul was surrounded by violence, power, and danger. When his father was killed in a shootout in 2007, instead of walking away from that life, Raul was pulled deeper into it. He quickly rose through the ranks and became a young leader in the cartel, known for being fearless and loyal. People in the cartel saw him as the next generation of power, but his life ended just as quickly as it began. At only 18 years old, Raul was killed during a police shootout after trying to threaten officers during a traffic stop. His story became a symbol of how cartels pull in kids and use them until they're gone. Too fast, too young. Edgar Guzman Lopez, the prince who was mistakenly killed. Edgar Guzman Lopez was the son of El Chapo, one of the most powerful drug lords in the world. As part of the Guzman family, Edgar was being groomed to one day help lead the Sinaloa cartel. Though young, he had already started learning the business and was slowly stepping into his father's footsteps. But his life ended in a tragic and shocking way. One night, Edgar and a friend were driving through a cartel area when some of El Chapo's own men mistook their car for a rival. Without double-checking, they opened fire. shooting over 500 bullets. Edgar and his friend were killed instantly. When El Chapo found out what had happened, it was too late. The people meant to protect his son had taken his life by mistake. Edgar's death shook the cartel deeply and proved that in this violent world, even family members aren't safe from the chaos and confusion. Maximilian Schmidt, the online drug lord. Maximilian Schmidt, a German teenager better known as Shiny Flakes, ran a drug empire from the comfort of his bedroom. Using the dark web, Max created a website where people could secretly order all kinds of illegal drugs, just like shopping online. He worked alone, managing everything from orders to packaging, and shipped drugs across Europe. At just 18, he had built a powerful operation without ever stepping outside. But his success didn't last forever. By the time he was 20, police tracked him down after noticing strange packages being sent from his home. When they raided his apartment, they found 320 kilos of drugs and millions of euros in illegal profits. Max was arrested and sentenced to 7 years in juvenile detention. His story shocked the world and later inspired the popular Netflix show How to Sell Drugs Online Fast. His rise and fall showed how even tech-smart teens can get lost in dangerous choices. 1. The teen who just wanted to help his family. Juan grew up in a poor neighborhood and watched his parents struggle every day to make ends meet. He was just 15 when someone from a local cartel offered him what seemed like an easy way to earn money: selling meth. At first, it didn't feel dangerous. He wasn't using the drugs, just passing them along. But things quickly changed. The cartel wanted more from him. Soon, they gave him a gun and ordered him to kill a rival. Scared and feeling trapped, he followed their orders. The money kept coming, but so did the fear. Juan's grades dropped and his life began to fall apart. Eventually, the police caught up with him and he was arrested. He spent nearly 2 years in youth detention. While locked up, he realized how much he had lost. Now free, Juan carries deep regret for his past and is trying to rebuild his life from the ground up. Caesar, a teen who tried to escape. Caesar grew up near the US-Mexico border where cartel influence was strong. As a teen, he was pulled into the cartel world by friends and quickly saw the dark side: violence, threats, and even murder. Wanting a better life, he tried to leave and started working in construction with his father. But the cartel didn't let go easily. He got death threats and soon had an emotional breakdown. Fearing for his life, he reached out to law enforcement. They stepped in and protected him. Now Caesar is trying to start fresh, hoping for peace and a second chance at life. Ovidio Guzman Lopez, El Raton. Ovidio Guzman Lopez, son of El Chapo, was born into the world of cartels. From a young age, he was surrounded by drugs, power, and violence. After his father's arrest, Ovidio and his brothers took over parts of the Sinaloa cartel. In 2019, he was captured by Mexican forces, but the cartel responded with extreme violence, forcing the government to release him. The event shocked the country. In 2023, he was arrested again in a heavily guarded operation. Ovidio's story shows just how powerful and dangerous these cartels are. Even the government can struggle to stop them. Gabriel Cardona, the boy who became a killer. Gabriel Cardona grew up in Laredo, Texas, living a normal life at first. As a teen, he began stealing cars and crossing them into Mexico. At 17, he was recruited by the Zetas cartel, a group known for violence. He became a hitman, feared for his cold actions, and known for having eyes tattooed on his eyelids, so it looked like he never slept. Gabriel's life became filled with money, danger, and death. Eventually, he was arrested and linked to several murders. He was sentenced to 80 years in prison. His story is a painful example of lost youth and innocence. Ivan Archivaldo Guzman Salazar, the Little Chapo. Ivan Archivaldo Guzman Salazar is El Chapo's oldest son. He grew up in the world of drug cartels and was involved in cartel work from a young age. In his early 20s, he was arrested for money laundering, but later released due to lack of evidence. Over the years, he became a major figure in the cartel's leadership. He was even kidnapped once by rivals, showing how dangerous his world really is. Today, Ivan plays a key role in running the Sinaloa cartel. His story shows how being born into a powerful family can trap you in a life of violence. These stories aren't just about violence or crime. They're about young people, kids, who were used, controlled, and in many cases, completely destroyed. Some of them didn't want that life. They were scared. They wanted to leave. Others thought it was their only way to survive, and some even enjoyed the power for a while. But no matter how they got in, most of them lost everything in the end: family, freedom, their future. It makes you wonder, how many more kids are out there right now being pulled into the same trap? Could someone in your school, your street, or even your own home be one of them? We need to talk about this. We need to raise awareness, because if we stay silent, more lives will be lost. These kids need help, not judgment. They need someone to see the warning signs before it's too late. So if you found this video eye-opening, please like the video, subscribe to the Narco Files, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on more real stories like this. The more we know, the more we can protect. Together, let's shine a light on the darkness before it takes another life.